My name is Dr. Lyle Pfeiffer, but I really just go by Dr. Lyle because Lyle is an acronym for Liberate Your Life Essence. So that's my intention for all of us and myself here today is for us to liberate our life essence. And the great thing about that is we really don't have to do anything to make that happen. It's happening all the time, whether we think about it or not. But so many times in our life, all of our energy is on our work or a loved one or whatever might be getting our attention. And so your body doesn't have as much energy available to really liberate itself because it's tending to all these things. So these are my 10 tips for true healthcare. And the first tip, of course, is the open-eyed meditation practice. And so this is going to be great for you to take out into your everyday life. It's not a substitution for any kind of meditation practice you have, but it's something you can add in. How many people meditate? Okay. All right, so that's cool. It doesn't matter because this is perfect for beginners and experienced alike. And the reason I did this is because I've been practicing chiropractic for 20 years. And one of the biggest causes of the spine being out of alignment I have found is stress. And so I like to use metaphors and analogies to help get the point across because in order to make a paradigm shift, sometimes it's a little tough. So I was staying at a friend's house for a while and he loved to make pizzas at home. And whenever he would do that, he had this special oven he got from his neighbor who was a chef that plugged into the outlet, but you could put it up on the counter. And it was like 3 feet wide and like 2 feet high. And he loved this thing. He was very happy about it. If we were making pizzas in that oven and then he took his ice cream out of the freezer and put it in the microwave to warm it up, the fuse would go off. So the power would go out in the kitchen because we were using this high-powered oven and the microwave at the same time. So why did that happen? Why did the power go off in the kitchen?
The amperage isn't enough for the amount that you're running.
Okay, so there's a lot of electricity going through the wires. Let's say we didn't have the fuse box and we were just like, that's annoying, let's take that out. And we ran the microwave and the oven at the same time. Fire. Fire is bad. It burns the house down. Is it enough to just go into the fuse box, flip the switch back on, and go back doing what you were doing? No, because the problem is still there. So the problem is all the energy that's being pulled from the oven and the microwave and the blender and the toaster. So this is true for a lot of us in our life. Our loved ones die, we have financial troubles, we lose our job, and so there are all these stresses that are pulling all of our energy and attention, and so less is available for healing. And so if you look at your spine, you can see it actually looks very much like a fuse box and very much like switches. Your brain is talking to your body down through your spinal cord and out through these nerves and then back up the other way. And when these bones are out of alignment, it's just like the fuse box going off in your house. It's a protective mechanism preventing you from further injury. Any questions about that? Does that make sense? All right, so I got kind of frustrated over the years that I would adjust someone and they live this high-stress life, and then they come back and I adjust them and they live this high-stress life. So unless we address the stresses, I end up in this loop as a chiropractor, you end up in this loop as a patient, and none of us ever really get satisfied because we're really not getting to the root of what's happening. And of course, in this era that we're in, there are so many things to be stressed about. So this is a really simple practice for you to do anywhere, whether you're in traffic, at home, or if you're just, when I get up in the morning, this is the practice I do. So what I want us to do is just look straight ahead. And this isn't about me. I really want this to be about you. And I just want you to pick one of these dots that are on the wall. And it's not a staring contest. You're allowed to blink. You're allowed to move. If you feel the urge to close your eyes, you can. But just pick one of those dots and look straight ahead. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to look out the window. And just take 3 nice, slow, deep breaths. And I just want you to focus on yourself right now. Really, I really don't even want you to pay attention to the dot. So we have a lot of different senses. We have what we're looking at. We have the music we're hearing. I can feel the temperature in the room. Maybe you can feel where I can feel where my feet are touching the floor. Maybe you could tune in where your body is touching your chair. You also can tune in with how I feel. I feel energized. I feel depressed. I feel sick. I feel vibrant. Whatever it may be for you, I just want you to tune in. And so this practice is really about spending time with yourself and practicing self-care. So the idea is just to take short moments. So let's just stop looking at the dot, and you can look at me for a second. We just want to take little breaks, little moments throughout. And so this is a perfect example of why we're doing this here, because I don't want to make the room all perfect. I want us to have distractions, and I want to get used to being present with ourselves when all those things are happening. Okay? That's why I have the music playing. That's why, we have all these people walking out, because I want us to really relax and get used to all those noises. All right, any questions about the practice? It's really simple. That's really it, is just taking a moment with yourself and liberating your life essence. So any questions so far? All right. So we're going to see a lot of redundancy here. This next, the second tip is about building a healthy relationship with yourself. Self-care begins with self-talk, prioritizing compassion, boundaries, and understanding your own needs. So I feel like this is one of the most important things. A lot of people are in a service of some way. You're helping people in some way. And in order to really be able to help others, you need to be able to help yourself. And so having this healthy relationship with yourself and your feelings and knowing what's coming up in your own awareness is really key to being of service, because there's other people out there in life who are going to be upset and frustrated, and being able to manage that and hold your center around other people is really important. And that's another reason why I started doing these teachings, because as a chiropractor, I'm seeing so many people, and people are telling me about their problems all day. So making sure that I have a good, healthy relationship with myself is key. So let's practice again. Just look straight ahead. Don't really worry about what you're looking at. Just be present in this room. Be present with yourself. Sometimes it feels good to put your hand on your heart. You could send a little "I love you" to yourself, and just let yourself know you're here for yourself. Be the best parent to yourself that your parents couldn't be for you. Take another deep breath. All right, the third tip for true healthcare is taking a liberation approach to your healthcare as opposed to a disease-based approach to your healthcare. So, the reason I call it true healthcare is because what we traditionally call healthcare in our country really is sick care. It's totally focused on symptoms and disease and managing symptoms and disease. So often the pills we're taking aren't actually curing anything, they're just helping us manage what's going on. So in true healthcare, we're really focusing on our health, making the liberation of our life essence primary, and the focus on symptoms and disease secondary. Because I don't know if you've noticed in your life, but pain and problems and symptoms are a part of life. They're gonna come and they're gonna come and go. And so when we bring our focus away from those symptoms and disease and onto that life, it really helps empower our health. Looking straight ahead, just take a deep breath. If there's pain or uncomfortability, I just want you to be present with it. This isn't trying to make bad feelings go away, and we're not trying to pull good feelings in. We're simply being present with what is and letting everything be as it is. So let's just practice right now, just being in this space with nothing to do and nowhere to go. Next tip for true healthcare is to live health as a lifestyle. So many people, they start a fad diet, they start eating a certain way, and it's just for a short amount of time, and then they change and they exercise for a little bit. So it really needs to become a lifestyle. Health is a lifestyle. So all these little things, all these tips that I'm sharing right now are what I do to practice a healthy lifestyle. And so what I'm going to be sharing might not be exactly what you might want to do for your healthy lifestyle, but if something doesn't work on this list, that's perfectly fine. I want you to maybe think about what you could add into your life for a healthy lifestyle. We want to eat well, we want to exercise, we want to go to the chiropractor, we want to get massages, we want to do all the things we need to do to take care of ourselves, and not just as like a fad or a short-term thing, but really the way we live our life. My next tip is taking regular walks. This is one of my favorite things to do, and often I practice open-eyed meditation while I'm walking. I know you guys aren't practitioners here at the gym, but they do applied neurology here. And at this gym, it's not about lifting weights. They really help you reprogram your nervous system. And so there's lots of visual exercises and vestibular exercises that help reprogram your nervous system. And that's the reason I'm here at this gym, is because the owner, Dave, who I trained with, really helped clear out my back pain that had been there for 4 years after I had exhausted chiropractors, a massage therapist, an acupuncturist, and every little thing. So a lot of times we have trauma in our life and our nervous system remembers that. And so, for example, I had a car accident when I was looking to the side, and when I was working with Dave, I would find that when I looked to the side, my nervous system would break down and it would become weak, and my back pain would become aggravated. So by reprogramming our nervous system, we helped clear that out so that my body is strong no matter what it may be doing. And so taking regular walks is a great way to practice open-eyed meditation. When I take walks, I like to look out at the horizon, not down at my feet. We have too much of this action going on when we're on our phone and when we're on the computer, and so we need to get our eyes bright. I like to walk at a brisk pace to get your heartbeat up a little bit. And for those people who are part of the S10 Fitness family, you can also practice your exercises while you're walking and combine it all together for all the benefits. Okay, so I think walks are a great way for stress relief. I go for a walk every morning, and it helps with your heart, helps with your breath, helps with stress relief, helps reduce inflammation. Another little piece to the healthcare lifestyle. All right, so I think you are what you eat. I don't think this has been talked about enough, obviously. We all have different health needs. We all have different ways we need to eat. Some people are vegan, some people are vegetarian, some people like meat, but we literally are what we eat, and all the foods we bring into our body is what we become. And so I think this is one of the biggest reasons for so much of the inflammation and the sickness we're seeing in our culture, because there's so many preservatives and additives in our food. So myself, I like to have, organic grass-fed, meats and eggs, and organic vegetables as well. So I think diet is so personalized for every little thing. I'm not going to go into too much about that. But for yourself, I just like to add that in as an important part. So let's practice again. We're just going to sprinkle in. Let's take a little bit longer this time. Just look straight ahead. Pick a spot on the wall. Take a few deep breaths and be present with yourself. There's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, but to be present right here, right now. If thoughts come up in your mind, if you start to get bored or think this isn't doing anything, that's perfectly fine. We're not trying to do anything at all or accomplish anything other than being present with yourself and practicing soothing yourself. When we take a deep breath, it sends a signal to our body that we're safe. When we're stressed, that's our sympathetic nervous system, often called your fight or flight. When that fight or flight is activated, it changes your nervous system. It changes your hormone levels. It makes cortisol be released in your body, which changes your digestion. It affects your immune system. And so most of us think of the stress response when it's a 10 and we're totally stressed out. But so many patients over the years I've heard talk about that they're at a level 4 or 5 of stress. And so the alarm's still going off. If your smoke alarm was going off at a 10, you'd definitely take care of it. If it was going off at a 5, you'd probably still take care of it because you wouldn't be able to do what you need to do. So taking a deep breath and decreasing the input to your nervous system energizes the parasympathetic part of your nervous system, the rest, digest, and repair phase. All right, let's take a little break, close your eyes, do whatever you need to do. The next tip I have is about going barefoot. There's a lot of great research about having a direct connection with our feet onto the ground. And, you know, back in the day, I heard this as kind of like a woo-woo, metaphysical, spiritual type thing. But really, literally, it is about grounding ourselves. If we were to open up that electrical outlet, there's a little copper wire, and that wire goes directly into the ground because if there was a surge of electricity, that needs to go somewhere, and that goes down into the ground. We are an electrically based being. Our brain and our spinal cord and our nerves are the electrical system of our body. And so when we get in direct contact with the earth, who is a huge electromagnet itself, it helps shift all of our free radicals out of our body. So when there's a breakdown of tissue within our body and molecules within our body, sometimes free radicals are produced, and that is often thought to be a contributor to cancer. So one of the ways we can help clear that out is going for a barefoot walk, or we could simply just sit in our yard with our feet directly on the ground, and that'll help. Also reduce inflammation, reduce stress, improve your immune system, and help get that nervous system to shift into that relaxation state. All right, my next tip is for you to get your artistic side out. So much of us are on our phone all the time. We have so much input going on that getting our artistic side out is a great way to calm the nervous system. The same thing I've been saying over and over again. So for me, I like to color with colored pencils. When the pandemic happened a while back and I was bored out of my mind, I had no idea what I wanted to do with myself. And I found there was coloring books for adults. And so I started doing that, and I found that is a great way for me to relax. And I practice the same open-eyed meditation when I'm doing the coloring. And I like to use it as a way to heal myself. For example, if it's like an animal that I'm coloring, I'll look up the animal symbolism and use that as a theme for while I'm coloring. And so I practice this open-eyed meditation practice while I'm coloring to help repair my nervous system, to help calm me down, to help me feel better. I also like to surf. We also got some painting going on recently. So I just wanted to ask all of you, what do you do to get your artistic side out? And if you don't do anything to get your artistic side out, what is something you could add in to your healthy lifestyle that might work? All right, let's practice again. Everybody just look straight ahead, take a few deep breaths. Be present with yourself. Just allowing ourselves to slow down and really not do too much. We have the rest of the day to gorge ourselves on data if we so choose. But for this moment, we just want to slow down. If you suffer from attention deficit disorder or anything like that, this is a good practice to practice focusing. So all the more reason to practice putting your attention on something and putting your attention on yourself. One of the best things you can focus on when you need to practice your attention. All right, let's go on to our next tip here is care for our cervical curve. So this is what our spine looks like from the side, like this. We have a cervical curve, a thoracic curve, and our lordotic curve, and a sacral curve. There's 4 main ones. And one of the biggest reasons for these curves, they act as shock absorbers. So when we're walking and moving, there's some give. So when we have this curve like this in our neck, there's a lot of nice relaxation here. This is what our body is like here with our head. It's supposed to have this curve like this, but for so many people, it totally not only has straightened out, but it's gone the other way. So you can see how much extra strain that is putting on the back, and especially right here in the center. People get pain here all the time when they are on a computer. And that's that forward head posture that's such a problem for so many people. So when we go from here to here, it puts tension not only on the muscles, but on the nervous system and on the back of the head. And so one of the reasons I am bringing this up is because I see so many kids these days who are just curled up in a ball and they're losing that curve from the get-go. And so that is really causing a whole host of problems for so many people these days. So one of the little recommendations I give to people for that is to get a hand towel at home and fold it in half long ways and then roll it up. And that is just the right width to I don't have anything good. It's just the right width to put under your neck. So if you take that towel and put it under your neck, if I was laying on the floor or a bed, if I had my head flat on the floor or the bed with that towel under the neck, it gives you that curve in a supportive way. So many people have their pillow all bunched up like this and they're sleeping this way. And then they're on their phone this way. So I'm not saying to sleep like that all night. I'm just saying for 10 or 15 minutes, putting a towel under your neck and just letting your head rest really helps your muscles to really relax. And these are one of the biggest culprits for a headache right here, your SCM, your sternocleidomastoid muscle. And so when it moves forward, you can see how much it contracts. So getting that back is one of the best things for your health these days. The last tip I have for today is having at least 3 primary healthcare practitioners that all complement each other. So, chiropractic, massage, applied neurology that they do here in S10 Fitness all work together so well to complement each other. And that is one of the biggest things I've done over the years that has helped me is constant chiropractic, massage, acupuncture, applied neurology here with Dave has really helped me stay active and get over injuries and do all the things in my life that I want to do. And as we get older, we want to be able to continue to do those things. So taking a healthcare approach, a liberation approach is really the way to go rather than just waiting for problems to arise. Okay. So let's take another few minutes, just look straight ahead. We're just doing quick little meditations because I want you to do the same thing at home. When you're driving home later and you stop at a traffic light, I just want you to look straight ahead instead of picking up your phone and be aware of the liberation of life essence that's going on right now. When you cut your finger, you don't have to tell your body, hey, start healing that cut. It does it automatically, whether you tell it to or not, so that we can see that our liberation, our health is always on. When we get sick, our immune system kicks in. We don't have to tell it, figure out what bacteria are bad and which bacteria are good. It already knows. Just like we were growing in our mother's womb. Remember growing in your mother's womb. Just think about that maybe when you're like 9 months. She was 9 months pregnant with you. That was you there, and you didn't have a name yet. You didn't have a gender that you knew about yet. You didn't have a job yet, but there you were. You were growing. You grew a brain and a spinal cord and a nervous system. You grew bones and arms and legs. You grew a digestive system and a heart and lungs. All of these parts, you grew them without thinking about doing it. You were life in action as pure potential. And then you were born and you slowly gathered up a name and a gender and all these things that we come to believe as ourself, but that's really the character that life has wrapped itself up in. And so I just want us to rest as life wrapped up as these characters, instead of the other way around, where it's the character and then life is in the background. So as you're sitting and practicing this later, I want you to just tune in with life and that potential and that indestructible wisdom that is shining forth in every moment, no matter what. All day, all night, whether you're grateful for it or not, or whatever. It's always on. Take another few deep breaths. I just want you to imagine the light inside of you shining out ahead of you today. Like I said, we're electromagnetic beings. We have a field of energy that surrounds our entire body. And so that shines out ahead of you, blessing every person you meet and everywhere that you go and all that you experience today. And so there's 3 main places I want you to practice when you leave. One is when you're driving home and you're sitting at a traffic light, I want you to practice. When you go to the bathroom and you're either sitting on the toilet or looking at the wall or whatever you may be doing in the bathroom, I want you to practice. You have some alone time in there, don't you? And then one other place, I want you to think of something you do all the time where you could practice doing this. And of course, I encourage you to take it out into your everyday life, whether you're at work or in the car or just hanging out with friends. Okay. So my last one is, this isn't the last tip, this is just my last slide. I do private sessions available if anybody wants to kind of get some one-on-one training, and also we're going to be doing a group class next month, and it's going to be a little bit similar vibe, but I hope to see you guys there. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and let me know.